Hey, y'all, and welcome to Voices Beyond the Pages, the podcast where stories and voices meet. I'm your host, Audrey, an audiobook narrator who got her start on TikTok, sharing my journey with all its highs, lows, and everything in between. Each episode, we celebrate the voices shaping the storytelling world, BIPOC narrators, indie authors, and the readers who love them. Whether you're here to learn, be inspired, or just feel seen, you're in the right place. Grab a drink and get comfy. You're gonna love it here. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Voices Beyond the Pages. I'm your host, Audrey, and today's episode is a little bit special. We're talking about blooming, softly, bravely, beautifully, about letting go of timelines, about embracing the journey no matter when or how it starts. If you need a sign to finally believe it's not too late, this is it. Whether you're stepping into a dream for the first time, starting over, or just moving at your own pace, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. I'm also bringing in a very special guest today who embodies that truth in the most inspiring way. But first, let's talk a little bit about my own journey to understanding that growth doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. For so long, I thought growth had to be this big and dramatic thing. You know, loud wins, fast success, big moments. But stepping into what I call my safe girl era changed everything for me. It's about learning that blooming can be slow. It can be gentle. It can be just as powerful when it's quiet. When I started narrating, soul sync, and finally decided to get back into writing, I realized I had to let go of the belief that success had to look loud or fast. Now, moving slower, blooming softer, has made everything more meaningful. I used to believe that if you didn't accomplish certain things at a certain age, it was too late. But that mindset only kept me stuck. Starting later doesn't mean starting wrong. It means starting wiser, starting with more depth, starting with more intention. And honestly, the dreams that come to you later, those dreams are often the ones closest to your soul. Your timeline is sacred because it's yours. Before we keep going, I wanted to bring someone special into today's conversation. Because when I think about blooming softly and embracing the journey, she's one of the first people who come to mind. Gigi Reeds is not only an incredible new narrator, but also someone who took a leap of faith to follow her passion later in life. Her journey reminds me, and I hope reminds you too, that it's never too late to start something beautiful. I'm so excited for y'all to meet her and hear a little piece of her story. today, and we're going to do a little mini interview because I thought that she would be the perfect fit for this segment. And I know this will not be the last time, if I have it my way, that she will be on the podcast. So let's welcome Gigi. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for being here. And I just have a few questions for you, and then we're gonna, kind of cackle a little bit like we do. But yeah, so you just got into narration, and I really have enjoyed watching you flourish and learn and be so open to advice and all the things. And not only that, but to help the people in the community as well. So yeah, that's been amazing just to watch your growth over these last few months. And so I was really inspired by that. And I just wanted to have you on here so I can ask you a few questions, just see where your head is, how you doing, how you coping, how you transitioning into this. So what made you finally decide to step into narration at this point in your life?
So I got on TikTok literally, so this is a long, short answer. Okay. So when I got on TikTok, it was because my kids, my daughter had moved out. So I was an empty nester, and I was, parenting was really hard for me. And so one day I'm in church, and after church, they have this part where it's like, you could get prayed for, whatever. And my pastor was like, hey, you could raise yourself now. If you can raise yourself, and you could be the person you wanted to be, not the person you had to be. And so I started raising LaShawn, and that was my first TikTok account. And so from the Raising LaShawn account, I started reading, and I started entering the book talk space. And then I started the book talk page. Well, when I started the book talk page, I actually saw you and Lawrence narrating. You guys used to go live a lot. And I've only been in the book talk space since I want to say October, November or something like that. Maybe beginning of November, because I would watch him. He would be solo, and then y'all would be together, right? And so one day he was doing it, and I was just like, do you coach doing this? I think I could do this or whatever, right? And so I played around with the idea of it. And then one day I was like, I got a mic. I was like, I'm out here for real. I got a microphone. And it's something about having a mic. I used to rap back in the day. I've done a lot of public speaking. I've done fashion design and presentations and stuff like that. And so it's just something about having a mic or whatever. And it always happens. One day something bad happens at work, and you like, I gotta get up out of here. I need to take whatever the skill is I have in my lap and take it serious. And so one day I was like, let me plug up this microphone, because it's been sitting here, and I've been at it ever since.
Oh, I really like that. What you said, your pastor said about raising yourself. Like, it's time for you to raise LaShawn.
Yeah.
I felt that because I have been I'm not a single mom, but honestly, really a married single mom, you know? Yeah. But a stay-at-home mom. And so my whole world revolved around my kids, Yeah. And so within this last year, I have really chosen myself over everything, And I've been saying I broke all my shit up, honestly, because I realized who I was. Once I learned who I was, I started making decisions. I started moving different, you know?
Yep.
And so now it looks different than it looked before. And it's a huge adjustment for me, where it's dang, I feel bad because I don't spend a ton of time with my kids, but like I was a stay-at-home mom for 13, 14 years.
Yeah.
They were literally the only thing that I ever did. So it's like that mom guilt that you have for just choosing you, you know?
But
So
you
I
realize like
love
they
that.
supported it too. Like when sorry to cut you off,
No,
when
you're fine.
you realize that when they'd be like, I gotta put me first.
Mm-hmm.
But when you finally choose you, your kids actually support it
Yeah.
because you're teaching them how to choose themselves. And I think I missed that mark because I didn't choose me until after they were gone, right? After they're in the world right now, and so my son has these hard conversations with me, like, it's time for you to do what you want, and I'm like, hey, Addie, slow down, you the kid. But it's not to say he's not right. And so I think when we have healthy relationships with ourselves, we teach our kids how to do that too.
Yes, it does. It really does. And just, I've started to notice that, especially with my oldest son, because I have
Mm-hmm.
3 boys, but
Okay.
my oldest is 15. And, he's at that point in his life where he's trying to figure himself out,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think him seeing me doing something that I enjoy doing, that I love doing,
Mm-hmm.
is kind of inspiring him to figure out what it is that he wants to do and where it is that he wants to, go in life. But I'm trying to, I this one question I really hate that they ask kids is like, what do you want to be when you grow
Mm-hmm.
up? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's guiding them in a direction of choosing a career, And I specifically told the boys one day when they asked me this question, and it just came to me, I was like, I don't want y'all to worry so much about what kind of career path you're going to take. I want you to be more concerned about what kind of person you're going to be. You know what I mean? Are you going to be, because past being a productive citizen, are you going to be a good person? What are your values and your morals going to be like? And those things help guide you in the direction of a career choice that's going to be favorable for you, because you know yourself on a deeper level. If you're just doing this surface stuff, it's not, of course you're going to make money, but you don't know who you are, So yeah, absolutely. I really like that. So our next question is, what surprised you the most about starting this journey now?
The amount of work. Right? And I watch, me and TikTok, we kind of go together real bad right now. And so I watch the different narrators online. And sometimes it's hard to take yourself out of the equation, right? And what I mean is, like, I'm jumping in because I'm such a perfectionist. It doesn't take me long to figure it out, and I can do it. But this is something that I feel like is trickling for me. Like, it's been a couple of days where I'm like, maybe I'm not supposed to do this because I ain't snagged nothing up yet. But LaShawn, you don't even have the sound down right. Like, what are you doing? And I'm very impatient. And so I think the amount of work and the amount of effort, like the person that's mentoring me now, it's like, you got to do 5 auditions a day. And at first I was like, okay, bet 5 is nothing. Slow down. Because those 2 in the morning are taking hours.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
Exactly.
And so that's the thing. And because I committed to not committing, right? Like, after doing all the businesses and raising the kids and school and all these things, I've made this sidebar commitment to quit. And now this new journey is actually pulling me out of that. And so I'm tussling with it. It's not winning, but I'm tussling with it. And that's the unexpected thing. And when I had the meeting with the mentor, one of the things she said that I did not expect for her to say is, you might have to get over the past trauma of feeling like you failed at so many other things before this works for you. And I was like,
who's your mentor?
Lanisha.
Mm-hmm.
Lanisha.
If it's one thing Lanisha gonna do, is get you straight.
Hey,
Okay.
Got me straight. And didn't even, so it's a trip because I'm watching you guys, right? I'm watching you, and like even when I had asked Lawrence, does he coach? He was like, I mean, I could help you or whatever. I'm like, all right, bet. You my designated mentor or whatever. He was like, okay, I'll take it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with Lanisha. It's like she saw me one day and said, hey, we need to talk. And she called me, and that 2 hours was so like I'm just grateful that people think enough about me or this voice or whatever to make it happen. And so when you ask like what's the most unexpected thing, it is the amount of work, the amount of healing I think is happening with me with it, the boost of confidence, which is weird, the boost of confidence, and yeah, just me actually getting this random amount of support, from strangers, right? Like I don't really know y'all like that, and it's so many people that are like, you could do it, and so I just really appreciate that. In a world full of no's, it feels like this is my yes. And so I just have to get it. I have to get it. So yeah. Anyway.
I am definitely, no, you're fine. I understand exactly what you're saying, because I talk about this all the time. I think I even have an episode. I think it's my episode that's going to be released tomorrow, actually. Mm-hmm. That is about self-sabotage. I am the self-sabotage queen. Mm-hmm. If there's one thing I know how to do is quit. I quit real good. You know, I quit real good. I do. Like, I'm the biggest quitter. And I think this goes back to when I met Lanisha for the first time. Mm-hmm. I was on a live and she came up and like, oh my gosh, I was enamored because I was like, oh my gosh, it's Lanisha Evans. You know? And so I was like, you know, oh my gosh, I can't believe I had Lanisha on there. I had Isla Cox on there. Mm-hmm. I can't remember who else. I think maybe Olivia Linden was there. Yeah. So I was just like, just to have you guys all here. So this is like when I first got into the book talk space, when I first started narrating, all of that stuff, first started documenting my journey. Lanisha came up and I was just like, y'all know, I be feeling like I want to quit all the time. And she was like, don't you dare, you know?
Yeah, she does not play.
And so I was just like, you know, I don't really know what I'm doing. And she's like, well, you can call. She's like, you can call me. I'll give you my number. And I was like, I'm going to call you. And she was like, I don't believe you. And I was like, I will, I promise. And she's like, okay, if you say so. And so I did like call her, but Lanisha be getting you so right sometimes. Like, I remember when I had to start this girl, talk about, she be snatching you by the back of the neck in the best way, of course. In the best way, for sure. But when I wanted to start the podcast, this podcast, I had originally, this was called Narrator Love, Bridging the Gap, right? Okay. And I had 2 episodes and they went really well, you know, and Spirit put it on me to do this. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, I started planning out Voices Beyond the Pages, everything, every single thing, every episode, everything. I had it all planned out to a T, but then my husband injured himself.
Okay.
And so when he injured himself, I'm calling Lanisha and we're cracking up. We're cracking up because he did some childish shit and, you know, busted his leg up. And so a couple days go by, a couple weeks go by, and I'm just telling her how I'm just like stressed and I got so many things on my plate. She was like, the podcast has to wait. It has to wait.
Immediately.
And I was like, because I had planned it so much, and you know, so it kind of was like a dagger, you know, because it's like, damn, that, sheesh. So that hurt me real bad. But to be honest with you, it really was the best thing that I could have done, because within those few months that I took, to just like, obviously help him with his recovery, but also, it gave me time to kind of get my bearings,
Right.
because I
Right.
had just came off of a very bad, slightly public TikTok breakup, of sorts.
Yeah.
And that was weighing on me, and I, not to be like, get into that too much, because I talked to you about that, but that was difficult.
Yeah.
And that weighed on the whole entire group, the community that we were building, all of that. And so it was necessary for me to take that break, because I had to find myself, just me again, and get back into like narration and get back onto my projects and everything and figure out what my own direction was. And I think that the podcast is going to be more successful because of it. But it is so necessary to have people like Lanisha, people like Lawrence, people like yourself, and
Thank you.
our corners, because support is so necessary, because we do a very solitary job, and it's kind of a little bit gatekept, when people don't like to talk about how to get into it, the highs and the lows and the trials and tribulations of narration, and that was my whole point of my page in general, was like, I wanted to share it because I didn't see very many people doing that, at least not in the capacity that I had planned on. And so to see people like you come in, to see people like, Carmen and Lanisha and Lawrence and Arise, I'm trying to convince her to come on. I think her name is Arissa. I'm trying to get her to come on the podcast. I just asked her today. She's like, I'm nervous. Just to be able to support our community, and not just narrators, but the Black indie author community. That has always been my goal. So I'm just happy to be welcomed in this space, and for people to even think that, for people to even value my opinions, and the little bit of expertise that I have. So yeah, that's so valuable. I think this is going to be a good one for you. If you could tell your younger self, or anyone listening who feels like it's too late, one thing, what would it be?
Apply the effort. Make an effort. Make an effort for it. Not it's too late. Not you could do it. Not you got the victory. None of that stuff. Just apply some effort. Apply some pressure. Because God never fails to honor effort. And so I want to be like, and be patient with yourself. But I think effort is just good enough. Like if you just walk in that direction. You don't even got to do too much. Just walk in that direction. You'll handle the rest.
That's a good one. That is, because having faith sometimes is hard. Because you got this vision in your mind, and you got the direction in your mind of how things in your life is supposed to go. But most of the time that should get blown up, because it's already written how things are supposed to, or how things are going to go. We just need to fall in line and do it. So
we think too much too. We think too much. You're supposed to have expectation, right? But we try to demand everything, and sometimes you just got to look that way and head that way, and you'll start seeing the rest of it when it happens. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That's what you would tell your younger self?
I would tell my younger self, my eyes water. What's happening? I would tell my younger self, that you were right. When I was younger, I was well informed. My mom made sure I was well informed. I had a lot of information, and I started hating the fact that I knew so much. And so I would make reckless decisions because I wanted to be like everybody else, like my partners, and then they had a live in. Well, let me go get me a good old live in. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were making reckless decisions, and I was well informed, and I would tell my younger self that I was right. Like, I didn't have to change my opinion to conform. Like, what if I would have followed through with what I believed in the beginning, instead of trying to switch up to be like everybody else. And I didn't have false information. I just didn't like the fact that I knew all of the, like, I will break it down to the white meat. And I used to hate that sometimes because I felt like it kept me from having the fun that I thought other people were having. I wasn't thinking long term though. Yeah. What's going on with this? What's happening, Malik?
I have been known to make people well up a little bit. But I can understand that, but from the opposite angle, where it's like I was in a lot of ways sheltered, you know? And so I knew things, but not enough things.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I just did all the safe things. I planned my life to be as safe as possible. And it's not so much that I feel like I want to go out and make like risky decisions, but I want to experience things now. You know, I want to just try stuff. And I say it all the time. I'm really just out here trying shit, you know, because in truth, that's really all it is that if it doesn't work, I wish that I had somebody to tell me if it doesn't work, that's not the end of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can keep trying, but you can also try something else. You know, you can learn something in one direction. Like what I've done with narration is I've realized that long form narration is not my gig. Yeah. It's just not it. Yeah. I enjoy having the conversations with you, with the authors. I enjoy that kind of interaction. I enjoy being able to go out and teach people and encourage people and empower, you know, people and build community and network. I enjoy relaxing people with my voice. I don't enjoy narration in the capacity that I think true narrators like Lanisha, like, you know, Miles, like Wesley Siobhan, like, you know, some of these popular big names genuinely love narration. I can do it and I'm good at it, I feel. But I think that finding what my real true path was, which is more of like guided meditation, empowerment, interviewing kind of things, that really helped me to be able to say, you know what? You learned this skill in narration. You learned this audio stuff. You learned all these things, and it wasn't for nothing. You know? Yep. So I get to build on what I've already been learning. And so it makes me feel like, and maybe I am a little bit of a quitter, but it makes me feel like I'm not quitting, you know, because narration was really just a catalyst to other things. You know, I was, and I'm not trying to say like anything about myself, you know, my sisters would get onto me. Yeah. I feel like I have been a big part of the community. You know, I'm trying to dial it down a little bit, but I feel like I've helped a lot of people, and I want to continue to do that. I want to continue to encourage. I want to continue to inspire. I want to continue to go out here and teach people and be a support person, you know, because I feel like we all can eat and we can all have like a good time and all these things. But Yeah, I just was not informed at all. And I now just want to go out and try stuff. And that led me to finding, narration and everything else. So I'm really grateful
Can I
for
say
it.
something to you before you go to the next question?
Mm-hmm.
So one time, all my stories are building stories, but one time, I was told, do not hit total. Don't hit total. And my issue was, if it didn't work out the way I thought it was going to work out, I canceled it and I just hit total, like whatever. But it was like, hey, what if God want to add something else in the equation? Right. And so hitting total means that there is, you got these numbers, you got 10 and 2 and 4 and 6 and all these different numbers. But when it got to 7, I was like, hey, forget that. Like, let's add them up right now. But it made it final. And so you don't know if this was just another part of the equation. And, I know we went over the title of the podcast and everything, but I'm in a space now where I'm actually able to apply everything that I've done and put it and bundle it into this one thing. And it's the thing that's making me grateful. And so, you got to be honest with yourself with where you are, regardless of whoever out there thinks you should be, wants you to be, feels like you should be, tries to convince you to be, or whatever. But all of the things you've learned in this space may very well be the bundle package that now becomes Voices Beyond the Pages. So give yourself some grace with that, and give yourself a little hand clap, because of the fact that it's hard to be honest with ourselves. With where we are, it's hard to say that we don't enjoy something that everybody wants us to enjoy. And so that's a grown-up thing to do. And so I just want to, like what they say, I want to give you your flowers, girl. I just want to honor that, because it's being honest with yourself is a big deal, because we don't do it enough. So anyway, sorry for that interruption, but I just wanted to say that.
No, you didn't interrupt. That's the whole point of this. It's like, I want to hear your opinions and your thoughts and just like learn. I feel like the other day when I came on to your live, and I think it was, I don't know her real name, but it's, what is it, Pit Bulls and Books or something like that?
Yeah, she's ill. She's so dope.
Yes, and I really felt like I learned something. And that's what I enjoy about community, is that, we go out here and I just enjoy how everybody has a different perspectives and different views, and, have learned things in a ways that it's like, wow, I never thought of it that way, And so that was when, in that moment, I thought to myself, this is the reason why you should never be the smartest one in the room. Because what do I gain from that? I don't gain anything from being the smartest one in the room. So that really, honestly, truthfully, and I think if I see her out on live again, I will definitely tell her, but that gave me some encouragement that I didn't even know I needed that morning, because I had been kind of wallowing in self-pity a little bit, because I was like, man, I broke my whole life up. I don't have nothing. I don't know I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have no money. I don't have no da-da-da. It's just like all the don'ts. And even though it just felt like she was talking about just credit and how to build and all that stuff, it was a little bit deeper than that for me, or it felt deeper than that to me, where I'm reading in between the lines, where it's like, you can use this, skill, which is building your credit and helping you to like understand, like, this is what you really need to be doing. I'm like, I got to put my big girl pants on, and get out here, because at the end of the day, I'm not leaving, my relationship or whatever, less than. I'm wiser now. I have more than I had when I was 20 years old. I'm a different person than I was when I was 20 years old, which is the whole reason why this is happening at all, for transparency. But that really was like super encouraging. And I was like, dang, I'm definitely going to make sure I come in here more often, because I know we be just kicking it, just giggling and, whatnot, having a good time. But sometimes you be in them little gyms and you never know what can change your life, or your perspective.
What's crazy about that, I know we got to answer more questions. What's crazy about that is that it's really become the framework of the morning show. And I think that's why we have the name and all that other stuff, which is wild. The whole development is wild, but it's always somebody getting encouraged. It's always somebody getting a shout out. It's always some sort of fact, something. We talking about taxes. We talk about everything from under the sun. But I believe that the room knows what the room needs. And so that's the reason why we keep doing it. Because it's always somebody that says, like, we woke up for this, or thank y'all for this, or I learned this, or I needed that. And I just appreciate that little hour and a half in the morning where people come in and actually feel like you felt. And so thank you for that. And it's a cool little group of people when it's a cool group of people.
It is. Absolutely.
So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Well, thank y'all, you and Mello, for getting on. And, every morning or all the mornings that y'all come on, I don't know every single morning because sometimes I'll be up dropping the kids off. But I'm definitely going to try to, be there more often because that was like really encouraging.
That's awesome.
And I enjoyed that. And I think this is a good little segue to our last question. What part of this journey has brought you the most joy so far?
The growth of it. I caved myself in. And like I said, my kids grew up and I got my little new apartment. It's my little mini mansion. Everything is like curated just full of shine. So when I walk in, it smells good. Everything I look at is like joy. I'm in this soft girl era part of my life where, like, if it makes my body feel a certain type of way, I don't want it. But what I found is that I've also been hiding. And I've curated my cave so that I can hide in my cave. And I say that to preface what the best part of the journey is. And it's that it's bringing me a freedom I didn't know I needed. And for some weird reason, I actually feel safe in it. And I think that it's getting me out of this hidden, lonely, whatever kind of cave that I found myself building around myself. And so that's what I appreciate about it. And it's the thing that I didn't think I needed.
And that's what we as the Booksplosive girlies had come up with. And on a whim one day on a live where everybody's talking about soft girl era. And I love that for you. I love that for them. I love that for everybody who's experiencing that. But what you're describing to me is your safe girl era.
Yeah.
Where
definitely.
You feel safe.
Ooh,
you feel secure. You feel like you are able to be the best version of yourself all the time because of the fact that you're choosing you. And you're doing things that make you feel safe. You're doing things that not necessarily have to make you feel soft or make you feel girly, but make you feel secure. So I think that if we start leaning more into our safe girl era,
I want to make you soft.
Yes, it's going to make you soft because exactly. So I don't think that's just something that we came up with. And so I'm sure eventually it's going to get out there and people will start saying it. But I've been saying it to the girls all the time where, how our community is. We tight, we tight. Yeah. And so we are very much, safe girl. Like, how does that make you feel? Do you feel safe? Encouraging one another, being straight with one another, and just being, frank. Like, stuff ain't gonna always be the way you want it to be, but are you safe? Are you secure? How do you feel on the inside? And if you don't feel those ways, how do we get you to the point that you do? How can we as a community help facilitate your growth in a direction that's going to make you feel safe first? And so, that's definitely some safe girl energy, hashtag safe girl energy. That's going to lead to soft girl energy. And I love that. I love that. I love that. So thank you so much for talking with me today. You are just you're one of my first few interviews, and I was always I'm always so nervous. So I always try to choose people that it's easy for me to talk to y'all,
Oh, thank you.
So it's so easy to talk to you. Before we go, give us your socials, your social handles, and where can we see you on TikTok on a daily basis?
So I just started the. Oh no, you're right. It's Gigi Reeds, GIGIREEDSVO on TikTok. It's Gigi Reeds on TikTok. I just started the Instagram. It's the same on Instagram. I guess that's it. I don't really do anything.
But that's a start. That's a start.
I'm on Threads, but that's the supper club stuff. So the Gigi Reed stuff is mainly on TikTok and Instagram.
TikTok, Instagram, and then you have the morning show. What is the morning show called on TikTok?
Mellow Morning Show. You could catch us there Monday, Tuesday. It's so funny. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and sometimes Friday.
Okay.
And it's from 6:30 to about 8:15 Pacific Standard time. And like I said, we'll have authors, we do narrator. It's just a good time.
Definitely stop by if you can, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Thank you so
I will
much
be
for
there.
having me. This was so dope. I'm so excited.
I'm happy. Thank you. And so this will be, when this comes out, I'll definitely let you know. I'm going to chop this out, but I'll let you know. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And be encouraged too. You're doing a good thing. Stay focused. You're doing a good thing. And he'll bless your effort. And this will be bigger than, even what you thought it would be.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sometimes that scares me a little bit, though. I'm not going to hold you.
Yeah.
Because I see the potential, and that scares me. Yeah. And I don't think people understand that sometimes, but all right. Okay.
Sis. Have a good evening. Thank you again. I appreciate it.
You too. Okay. All right. Bye. Listening to Gigi's story reminds me it's not about when you bloom. It's that you bloom anyway. Softness is strength. Growth is sacred. Your voice, your dreams, your story, they're right on time. It's not about being loud. It's about being true. You are not late. You are right on time. Thank you for sitting with me and with Gigi today. If this episode gave you the sign you needed, honor it. Start scared. Start small. Start soft. But start. If you love this conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who's standing at their starting line. You can always connect with me on TikTok and Instagram at Audrey Shanice for more moments of growth, storytelling, and community. Until next time, this is Voices Beyond the Pages, where stories and voices meet. You're going to love it here.